Stephen Colbert started his career playing a self-obsessive, narcissistic news anchor who was deeply partisan and blind to the fact that everybody hated him and thought he was a clown. It was a bit. He was parodying a Fox News personality at the time. It was about 20 years ago, and it was funny. He was a correspondent for The Daily Show, and it was funny back when that show still had a sense of humor. Stephen Colbert then got his own program, and things began to spiral. Now Stephen Colbert's career is over, in spite of the fact that he sacrificed children to Moloch live on the show.
I must appease him with the gift of a man-child. Come to me. I must feed you. I must feed you to the northwest.
So Stephen Colbert sacrificing children on the show, emblematic of the point of Stephen Colbert, which is I will do the bidding of the corporate media and the industry that is deeply evil, and you can count on me to carry your water. While this kind of humor certainly is edgy, it ended up getting Stephen Colbert the #1 spot in late night with the Stephen Colbert Show on CBS, where he immediately got to work appeasing the powers that be by doing nonstop commercials for Big Pharma. Of course, very edgy. But this is exactly who Stephen Colbert always was. He was always a company man. He was always somebody who would deliver the message on behalf of leftoids and libtards. He would even dance with them on camera, as he did here. In fact, there's no better video of who and what Stephen Colbert is than him pathetically dancing here in the cringiest possible way with Chuck Schumer wearing a mask, everybody masked. It's hard to watch, and it's so humiliating, and you're supposed to be an edgy comedian, and it's just showing that what you really want to do is to suck up to power, to protect and to glorify and to worship the Democrat Party establishment, and you'll debase and humiliate yourself in order to do that. And that's exactly who Stephen Colbert was. In the end, he turned out to be the exact thing that he was parodying early in his career. He turned out to be the self-obsessive, narcissistic, deeply partisan clown that everybody was pointing and laughing at, and he wasn't in on the joke. And the joke ended up being that Stephen Colbert lost in the ratings games. Gutfeld dominates ratings as CBS retires Late Show and Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert ended up losing to a guy who was better at his game than him, because there's no shortage of left-wing propaganda mewling and crying screamed at you from a white left-wing elite from inside of Manhattan. Everybody's had enough of that. We have so many of those. We have Conan O'Brien and Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers. There are a dime a dozen, and Weekend Update on SNL. They're all the same. They're all derivative. Now even South Park is derivative of that. And so Greg Gutfeld just goes, okay, well, how about I just do this from the right? I'll actually be the person that Stephen Colbert was parodying in his early career when he was still funny, and I'll do it on Fox News, which was the corporation that Stephen Colbert was parodying. And Gutfeld won. Gutfeld does millions more viewers than Stephen Colbert. Everybody's crying about Stephen Colbert getting kicked off air last night. It was the final Stephen Colbert show. Ben Stiller, this was so emotional. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Ed Sullivan Theater. Oh, thank you. Oh, here's to Colbert, a man of great integrity and wit. Onward to bigger things. No, I don't think so, dude. You're not gonna. This is why they're all crying. But more importantly, if you cared about his show so much, why didn't you watch? And this is my ultimate question. Why aren't it, we do more viewers on this channel in an hour, depending on the day, than Stephen Colbert did with losing $40 million. I think his budget was something like $100 million. If you libs were so obsessed with Stephen, I watch Gutfeld. If I'm up that late, I'm often not. But I watch it because it's funny. I support the show. I support what they're doing. Why didn't liberals watch? When Stephen Colbert took over the Late Show, it was doing 10 million viewers. Now it's doing 2. So show me how that math works. It doesn't. People just aren't watching. And they stopped watching because it stopped being funny. It started being propaganda. Look at the people who are so upset about Colbert show going offline, which, by the way, is not my timeline. I had to go search hard this morning, and my producers had to help me like cobble together anybody who was really cared at all about Stephen Colbert going off the air. Nobody did. It was actually kind of hard to find takes in the timeline on this. You can go to the front page of CNN. Stephen Colbert's Late Show bids farewell in final broadcast. Emotional episode. He thanked his staff and viewers for 11 years of laughs. Says CNN. Gooping over all of this. Let's see. Why does CNN have such a love fest with Colbert? Well, because Jake Tapper appeared 14 times, Anderson Cooper 22 times, Caitlin Collins and Don Lemon multiple times. Now they're treating it as the last show as a big story. Why does CNN love Stephen Colbert? Because he's part of the propaganda machine. He stopped being funny and he started doing propaganda with potatoes, literal human potato hybrids. He did have Scott Pressler on though once, which I think is really neat. And it shows actually some real range for Stephen Colbert and some real, it shows that he's really thinking outside of the box. So way to go, Stephen. Having Pressler on there is a neat move. If you all loved Stephen Colbert so much, why didn't you tune in? Why was he losing $40 million a year? Take all the partisanship out of it. Take all the propaganda out of it. The dude's lost. The dude's cratered the ratings of this show. It's financially unsustainable. And CBS is right to cut it just on they're publicly traded company. They have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders. You've got to cut a show that's losing this amount of money. That just is that's the only move that makes sense. You can see here in Stephen Colbert's last broadcast exactly why they canceled his show. Colbert is making his band play licensed music during the final show of CBS, who fired him. So they will get sued and have to pay millions of dollars. Got it? Wow. Stephen Colbert didn't care about losing his network, tens of, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Didn't matter to him. He was excited about it. He was excited for the opportunity to cost them money.
Using that music is going to have to pay through the nose. Lewis. Excuse me, Lewis. Is the
Oh, wow. They're going to have to pay for me playing it. He didn't actually play the copyrighted music. His band just did. Is a live version, which is allowed. As it kind of defines Stephen Colbert, meaningless political theater for staged applause. Stephen Colbert used copyrighted Peanuts music during his finale of The Late Show. I hope this doesn't cost CBS any money. It's so repulsive to see the people that are actually eulogizing him as though he's dead, as though like he died. Here he is drinking with Kamala Harris. Again, it's just pure propaganda, and it doesn't work. It's not even good propaganda. But this is essentially all that Stephen Colbert did at the end of his show is just get drunk.
I remember it because it was
just like bring on elitist Hollywood leftoids, drink alcohol with them, wrestle with them, tickle them, kiss them.
because I think you've made out with guests on camera.
No, I think you just wanted to make out with me.
So edgy.
What do you want?
You're a bourbon man, aren't you?
So edgy. He's drinking and he's kissing actors on camera. He did you see it? It's so edgy. What's his final message to his audience? His final message to his audience was, I want to feel you.
With joy, it doesn't hurt as much when your fingers get caught in the gears. On night one of the Colbert Report, back in the day, I said, anyone can read the news to you. I promise to feel the news at you. And I realized pretty soon in this job that our job over here was different. We were here to feel the news with you. And I don't know about you, but I sure have felt it.
Okay. I was under the impression that your job wasn't to feel me with the news. It was to try and make us laugh. Wouldn't that technically be your job? Like, isn't that your job as a late night host? I mean, maybe I fundamentally misunderstand this because I was like raised in the 90s with still Johnny Carson, then Jay Leno and David Letterman, that fundamentally their job was to make us laugh at the end of the day because everyone had had a hard day, not to feel us with the news, feel the news with us, for us. That's why the show failed. He fundamentally misunderstood, misread, and began to propagandize in this most humiliating 30-second montage, hyped Biden's win, cried when Trump won, and then gets canceled. Here we go.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen,
The timeline of
Joe
Colbert.
Biden did it. He's our next president.
Well, it happened again. After a bizarre and vicious campaign fueled by a desperate need not to go to jail, Donald Trump has won the 2024 election. Before we start the show, I want to let you know something that I found out just last night. Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May.
Oh, late.
The perfect timeline of failure. Stephen Colbert became the thing that he parodied earlier in his career. Marco Rubio taking over, right? Okay, so the memes are pretty hilarious. Stephen Colbert became the insufferable, corporate, narcissistic, out of touch, partisan twat. He just did it for the left. He started his career off parodying that for the right. Now it turns out that Stephen Colbert is everything. He became everything that he hated. But clips like this will live forever. Ladies and gentlemen, the end of Stephen Colbert, the final Colbert Show, broadcast last night. And he gave us a view into why his show failed. He brought on Paul McCartney to sing some old Beatles tune. Fine. Not going to hate on that. Nobody needs to hear Stephen Colbert sing, though. And then he brought in all of his staff on stage. And it's like, well, wait a second. How many people actually staff this show? Oh, this is why the show cost $40 million. Look at this. Oh, here's all the staffers. Here's all the pointless libs, cucks, HR people, diversity hires. Oh, look, I'm such a star. It's so embarrassing. Look at this. Let's flood the entire stage with the reason why our show was canceled. Insufferable, sneering, Manhattanite. Not very diverse, by the way. Yeah, but there you go. Proof positive that you can absolutely live long enough to see yourself become the villain. President Trump roasting on Truth Social. Colbert finished at CBS. Amazing that he lasted so long. No talent, no ratings, no life. Total jerk. Thank goodness he's finally gone. Colbert's firing from CBS was the beginning of the end for untalented, nasty, late-night, overpaid, unfunny, very poorly rated late-night TV hosts. Others, less talent, soon to follow. Rest in peace, says President Trump. I think the entire country sort of looks at this and goes, The worst thing that ever happened in your career is indifference. And that's what Stephen Colbert faced because he became the villain, became the joke. Too bad. A cautionary tale. It's your boy Benny. See ya.